Kayla from the Conservation Commission and also the CPC. So I'm going to turn over the meeting to Kayla and she can step us through.
Mary. Hi, everybody. So I'm going to be presenting on the 4 APR applications that we have in from the Massachusetts Department of Agricultural Resources. Let me share my screen. Mary, can you allow screen sharing?
Mark has a question.
Go for it.
I don't know. I'm not a Robert's rules or all of that, but on the planning board, I don't know if he has to or not, but Jim Maximowski usually starts out with a roll call of who's there and that we have a quorum. I know that you informally did it, but do you want us to all identify ourselves? I don't know, in case someone who's visually impaired can't see the screen or whatever.
Thank you. That's probably a good thing to do. I'm Mary Thayer. I'm chair of the CPC.
Teresa Smith-Freed.
Mark Dunn. I think I'm the secretary in name or clerk.
Ray Michkowski from Conservation Commission.
Diane Karaszczokis, Park and Rec.
Andy Klepacki, Finance Committee.
Sherry, you need to unmute.
Okay, there. I couldn't get it to unmute. I kept clicking it. Sherry Parsons, Historical Commission.
Absent is Adam and
And our quorum is what?
5.
5. So we're over a quorum.
We
All
have
right.
a quorum.
So I think we've checked all of our legal boxes. I'm sorry. Back to you, Kayla.
Okay, awesome. Let's see. All right. So I'm just going to go through the 4 different APRs. I provided a brief summary of each one with a map showing where it is and then the town match. So typically, the state requests that the town match between 5 and 10% of what they are contributing towards the APR. So most of these are 5%. There's nothing over 6.65%, I believe. The first one is the Catherine Kelly APR. This is off Stockbridge Street. It's 11.1 acres. The total APR value is $287,500, and MDAR is requesting that the town match 5% of that, which would be $14,375. In the past, we've split the town contribution 50-50 between the conservation TDR account and the CPA fund. So we had our Conservation Commission meeting today and we voted to approve or recommend funding half of the town request using the conservation TDR account. So the request for this APR would be $7,187 from the CPA fund. The next one is the Margaret Riley APR. This is on Bay Road and is 7.96 acres. The total APR value is $275,000. The town match would be $13,750, split between TDR, CPA. Each would contribute $6,875. And I included a little bit of background on the APRs that I received them from the state. I don't think anybody's here representing the property owners or MDAR tonight, but yeah, so this is located within the Aquifer Protection District. I think 100% of it is either contains prime soils or soils of farmland of statewide importance.
The power of the presidency to go after these firms.
The third APR is the Tolper Trust APR. This is on Middle Street. There's adjacent farmland to the south. It's used mostly for vegetables. The total APR value is $250,000. The town match or the requested town match is $12,500, which is 5% of the total. And that would be split 50-50 for a CPA fund request of $6,250. And the last APR is the Joseph Kofsky APR. This is off Roosevelt Street. This is the biggest one. It's 15.52 acres. This is also, it's been used to grow vegetables since the 70s. There's a lot of other APRs in this area directly adjacent to the west, south, and north. So it's creating a contiguous group of protected farmland. And the total APR value is $620,000. This town match is the requested town match is 6.65% of the total for $41,230. So that would be $20,615 from the CPA fund. And this is just a chart summarizing the town match for all 4 APRs, how much is coming from CPA, how much is coming from TDR. It's basically even. And then this is a chart showing where the funds would come from. So there are no other proposed projects, open space projects for this town meeting. So all of this funding would come from the open space reserve, and there would still be over $9,000 left over after funding these projects. And that's the summary. Yeah, Mark?
I don't know. Usually Andy Morris Friedman is our technical advisor, but on the planning board, if I were within 200, 300 feet of a property, I would have to recuse myself. And on the Tolper one, I am. So should I not vote on that one, or does anyone know?
Andy's
I'm not
here,
sure.
so-
When in doubt, take the safe route.
Yeah, I'm thinking
guys.
I will recuse myself on Tolper because I could benefit by having that land, indirectly by having it preserved in APR. So then do we vote on all 4 individually? So I abstain from that one, or?
Yeah, we'll have 4 different motions.
Okay. And Andy
Andy?
has a question.
Yeah, my question is, these must all be a subdivision of most of the acreage that are on the parcels, because I did
Yeah.
a quick spin through the cards and they all have, a chunk more than, with maybe the exception of the Bay Road. Well, but yeah, all of them, like, there's 5 or 6 extra acres, like on the Roosevelt property. I'm assuming there's a subdivision of that.
Yeah, so a lot of times they exclude maybe the residents. In the applications that I think Mary attached in the email, there should be a GIS image showing the outline of the actual APR area. So this is the Kellys. It's not the entire parcel. I think this is omitted from the APR.
Yeah.
That's where the discrepancy comes from for the acreage.
Is everyone familiar with what the APR is and does?
Wouldn't hurt to.
Never hurts to review it.
I can
Yes.
do that, or Kayla can. So this land has a market value, and at full market value, it can be used for whatever the zoning allows. So it might be housing, it might be industrial, it depends where it is. It might be, but it's very rarely limited to just farmland unless it's preserved. And what this agricultural preservation restriction does is an appraisal is done for what the market value is, and an appraisal is done for what the value of the land is if it's restricted to just being able to be used for agriculture. And the difference of that, so say it's 500,000 market and 200,000 farmland, that 300,000 is the difference between the market and then the preserved value of the land. The land still is owned by the owners. It still can be farmed. It's not public land. It's but it is preserved forever. And buildings can only be built if they're like barns for farming. You can't put roads across it. You can't put a septic into it. It really is restricted, which is why it's important to block off areas that you might want for housing or for a septic or for, they say you can, say you want a wedding in the field, you can ask for a 1-day permit from the MDAR to be able to do that technically, appropriately. So but it's wonderful. And the owner is promising to keep it under agriculture. So it needs to be, rented out or farmed or, but used for farming. So if they aren't going to farm it anymore, they need to find somebody that wants to. So it's a wonderful way for the farmer to get value out of the land and still be able to continue farming. And it's wonderful to have it preserved, I think, in my opinion. In Hadley, we have such beautiful soil. So there's just a quick,
Mary, can I add 2 other quick points?
please.
It also reduces the owner's taxes,
Yes,
so it has that benefit. And the owner can rent it to another farmer or can sell it and
Right.
the new owner has to abide by the same restrictions.
it does go on the deed.
Barring a presidential executive order.
Okay.
And there is, theoretic, I mean, Hadley is on with the state with this, and one of them is theoretically supposed to be checking to make sure it's not in violation of the restriction, that there aren't things being done on it or built on it or used in a way that's not done, that's not appropriate. So
And we're number 1 in the state in terms of acreage, so we got to keep ahead of Amherst.
we should be number 1. We have the best soil.
Yeah.
So
Unless you live in East Hadley.
what so there's a lot of warrant articles, and there's a lot of CPA warrant articles. We have 9 plus the 2 more. We have 11 plus, if we do the bylaws, 12 out of about 30 articles. So it's a lot of CPA votes. So the attorney told Jennifer that instead of doing, usually there's an ComCon vote for their share and an APR vote for our share. And I was hoping we could just do 1 vote for all 4, but the attorney said no. But she did allow the warrant article to be combined, how much is coming from ComCom, from the TDR, and how much is coming from CPA. So there'll just be 4 votes instead of 8, but we still do need 4 separate votes.
They'll go fast.
Yeah, they will. Any other? Go ahead.
I have a question about the division of the town's share between TDR and CPA. 50-50, that's about what it is, right?
Yep.
Why do we do it that way when if we used all CPA money, the state would pay 15% of it? See what I mean?
We've historically done 50-50%, so I just kind of stuck with that. Me and Mary talked about just doing what we've done, but we could definitely change that. I also don't know how the conservation TDR funds are replenished. So it's not a sustainable source of funding for APRs in the future once we deplete those funds.
Andy,
There's
I
no
guess
guarantee.
Maybe it's too late now to have this discussion for this town meeting, but we should think about it for the future.
it's, that's what the TDR just depends on who's building what where, and whether they're following the zoning or whether they're not,
Right.
and whether they're
Right.
willing to put money into this TDR fund and get, less parking spaces, for example, and still be able to do their business.
Right.
But it is a finite, perhaps. I mean, it doesn't get replenished every year, but on the other hand, this is what the TDR is for. So it's gonna sit there and be used or not used. It's all town funds. So it's, whether it comes all from CPA or whether it's I'm not sure. The TDR can probably be used for things that the CPA can't be. So that might be a reason to, to not draw down on the TDR if there was some things the town wanted to do that the CPA funds couldn't fund. But I don't know enough about what the TDR can be used for to know.
I may
And
not be
also,
100% accurate in for my recollection of when they set up the transfer development rights. But that was, I think it's that what you said is mostly right on the money. I think though that we have a broader spectrum that we can use CPA funds for than the TDR. I think the TDR is
Okay.
this is the particular type of application when they're doing the transfer development rights funding, or as you said, some other project. So I think there's more discretion on what the CPA funds could be used for than what the TDR funds can be used. And you're right, it's the very project dependent what's coming in that year, whether or not how they're replenished. But I mean, this is what it's for. So to me, this just makes a good use of putting that money to use, where we have sparing the CPA a little bit so we could use it for other areas.
But sounds
correct
like
me if I'm wrong, Mark, but I believe that the planning board at least is trying to move away from monetary contributions to TDR and instead are encouraging building affordable units
Well,
instead of
those
the
are,
monetary. Is
yeah,
that related to this?
those are two separate things. There's the payment
Okay.
in lieu. That's when you do a development and you're going to do so many parcels. If you're over 6, you have to have at least one that's an affordable unit. But the TDR is, as Mary mentioned, if you're building along Route 9, which is where we encourage development, and you can't meet the 2-for-1 requirement for parking, then there's a formula you can pay into the TDR for how much you're short. So it allows developers to max out their site beyond what our zoning allows. And that also, I was going to say that the CPA has a more predictable and more consistent revenue stream coming from the title generation, but you can't always count on developments along Route 9 or wherever that won't have adequate parking. So yeah, it does have a less predictable revenue. But yes, that is separate from the payment in lieu.
Gotcha.
Yep.
it sounds to me like a CPA subcommittee to look at the 50-50 split and see if there's a better way to do it for the future.
You called it, so you're it.
Yeah.
Maybe Ray could work with you on that since he's on the Concom, if he was willing.
Sure, yes.
Awesome.
All right.
Caleb.
And any other thoughts regarding this before we ask for motions and votes?
Nice work putting it together. Can we show these slides at town meeting? Now that there's a projector?
I think so. You just have
Great.
to send it to Jennifer. I don't know. She sometimes formats it differently, but we could definitely share these for town meeting.
Great.
And I think the one that shows the exclusion, the one farther on in the report, the image that I think it's a Google Earth or whatever, the one that shows the image with the housing blocked off, I think is a good thing to show, because I think it's not the whole lot, it's just a portion of it.
Right.
I was just going to say, if Kayla could speak to, so we have some respect for how long this process takes. It's like they didn't just start this last month. How long is the process? But the owners have to reach out to the state or the Concom, or
It can be a couple years before it gets to us, and when we're like the final little bit, and so it's kind of, last time we had to do this, it kind of didn't get done quickly, and it was more than a year since the appraisal had been done, and then it got pushed off. They had to do a new appraisal, and it just added a whole lot of confusion because the rates went up, and the state, if it gets more than a year and the appraisal goes up, the state won't pay anymore. So the town had to pick up a bigger percentage. So thank you all for coming tonight to do an extra meeting for this, because it is a wonderful thing for the town. Sherry, I see your hand up.
I have a question that when I was reading all the applications, they're all dated in March, but there's a deadline for submitting the applications of February 1st. Now, how did we get around that? Why did we get these after February 1st?
Well, I received these from the state last month. So that was the first that I really saw anything on these. And I think we wanted to make sure that we were getting them on the warrant before the year mark, because we didn't want to have to deal with, their appraisal goes up and now we have to spend more from our CPA funds, TDR funds, go back to town meeting and revote everything. So me and Mary talked about it, and we figured it'd be best to put this on the fast track.
You're right. It's a lot of negotiating that's been going on. I think I read in each one that each of the owners are taking a little bit less than technically the difference between the appraisal and the other two. And it's, at a discount a little bit. And it's great to have 4 more properties and 40 plus more acres. So 42.75 acres total. Andy?
Mary? Yeah, just to answer Sharon's question. All the CPA procedural rules are at the discretion of the chair.
Okay.
And if Mary thinks that there's a worthy proposal, she can call extra meetings and give everybody a fair shake.
Yeah.
So it's just good customer service.
I just was curious because it obviously threw a monkey wrench into having a meeting and all that sort of thing. So I wondered why it had happened after February 1st.
I will say, if it was nice not to add on anything to our 10 o'clock meeting. So
That too.
yeah.
I just wanted to understand. That's all.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, and thank you for explaining that, Andy, because I was wondering if we needed to make a motion to even consider it. But if it's at the chair's discretion, then that's a done deal.
And we've done that before. We've had other things in the last couple of years that came in that, the town wanted right through, or there was a reason that it couldn't wait. And one was the West APR a few years ago. So
And I guess an argument would be that the state doesn't necessarily observe our time schedules. They do things on their own schedule.
And I also would feel bad having these 4 families after all they've gone through to say, oh, we're going to vote on it in October when we could vote on it in May. So.
Right. But it's not like they didn't do their paperwork in time to make our schedule. They were at the mercy of the state to hear how much the state was going to award. Yeah.
Any others any other questions? Well, we have 4 motions that need to be made. Who would someone like to make one on Kelly?
I would move that we recommend the CPA contribute $7,187 matching to the Kelly Stockbridge Street APR.
Second.
Who seconded, Ray?
Yes.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, I guess roll call, Kayla?
Yep. Mary,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Risa,
Was
Yes.
muted the last.
Andy Klepacki,
Yes.
Sharon,
Yes.
Adam,
Yes.
Andy Morris Friedman,
Yes.
and Diane.
Yes.
Okay, 9-0. Next one is Riley. Do you want to just do the same four for each one? Mark
Sure,
and
I
Riley?
will make a motion to match with the CPA $6,875 for the Riley Bay Road APR.
Ray, you second?
Second, yeah.
All
All
those
right,
in favor? Go ahead.
roll call vote. Mary,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Mark,
Mark, yes.
Risa,
Yes.
Andy, Kopacki,
Yes.
Sharon,
Yes.
Adam,
Yes.
Andy Morris Friedman,
Yes.
and Diane.
Yes.
Helper?
All right, Topper, I'm going to abstain because I am
sorry.
somewhat of an abutter. So I nominate Andy Morris Friedman to make the motion.
I accept. So I'll make the motion and let's not say it again because we all know what it is.
6250.
We need a second. Right?
Second.
Got Ray?
Yep.
All those in favor?
I have a question
Mary?
on this.
Oh, yes, go ahead.
In the map, it shows the house and the outbuildings within the APR, but are they excluded from the APR actual land that is being funded?
There's a map at the end. If you can go to the end of the application. I've got it here if
I have it.
I
Oh,
don't
I have
know
it
if I
open.
can share it.
I have it open.
Because it can include
Okay, great.
agricultural buildings, but not residences, right?
Are you
The line
seeing
that's
this?
drawn is including the house.
But can you see what I put up?
Yes, I have. Okay.
So the
And that's
yellow is
excluded?
excluded.
Okay.
I think
That's-
this is the better map to show because it
Yeah.
shows just the land that's being put under APR, not the
Yeah.
whole lot.
My concern is, as from the historical commission, in that house should be considered for the historical commission's preservation policy that we're working on, and that a 1794 house there is something worth considering. So,
Okay.
especially since the family wants to renovate it.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that's a good point, Sherry. It is excluded. The barns are not.
Okay, good. I didn't go far enough to see that map, I guess.
I think that's the better map to show just because it really is showing what is to be done. All right, so we've got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Roll call, Kayla?
Mary,
Yes.
Mark Dunn,
Abstain.
Sharon,
Yes.
Risa,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Andy Kopacki,
Yes.
Andy Morris Friedman,
Yes.
Diane,
Yes.
and Adam.
Yes.
That's 801.
801, correct. The last one is the estate of Joseph Koski for $20,615.
And I would make a motion that we support recommending an APR matching fund of 20,615 for the Koski Roosevelt Street APR.
Ray, are you seconding?
Absolutely.
And this one, there's no buildings on it.
Yeah, second.
Any other discussion? Kayla?
All right, roll call vote. Mary,
Yes.
Ray,
Yes.
Mark,
Mark, yes.
Risa,
Yes.
Andy Kopacki,
Yes.
Sharon. Was that a yes?
Yes.
Okay. Andy Morris Friedman,
Yes.
Diane,
Yes.
and Adam.
Yes.
Great.
One last thing I wanted to just mention is that the select board did on Wednesday allow, thank you, Kayla, first of all, for presenting that. That was fabulous.
Mhm.
Nice job. And thank you all for being here tonight. One last thing, the alternates were approved by the select board, and since we're doing the bylaws, I just took a stab at what to say, and I don't know if do we need like an official vote to put this in, or I just said an alternate community preservation committee member may be appointed for a term of 3 years from each of the Conservation Commission, Historical Commission, Parks and Rec, Finance, Housing Authority, and Planning Board. If the appointed Community Preservation Committee member from a board or commission cannot attend a meeting, the alternate from the same board or commission can attend and vote at the meeting.
I liked it.
Yeah, it works.
I agree.
Should we
That's
do a
great.
vote, or just because we voted on the bylaws, or?
I'll move that we accept that language in the bylaws under Article, I can't tell, but it's C.
It's 49-1C.
41. Okay.
49-1C.
And I would second that.
Any other discussion?
Does this have to be approved by town meeting? Or by
yes.
the select board, or
Yes, town meeting. It first gets approved by the attorney who approved what we did up to this point, and then it gets put on the warrant. I did offer since we already have 11 articles, I did offer if they want to wait until fall to do this. I don't
Right.
think it'll be time consuming, but it's one more thing to fit in a very long agenda. So,
or the consent agenda might
I
be
was
in there.
thinking they could be in the consent, right?
oh, I don't know. Oh, that would be nice. I'll suggest that. Consent. All right, we have Sherry, do we have a second? Oh, we did Mark. Any other
Yes.
discussion? Kayla, you're on.
Roll call vote. Mary,
Yes.
Risa, okay, we got a thumbs up. Ray,
Yes.
Yes.
Andy Klepacki,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Sharon,
Yes.
Andy Morris Friedman,
Yes.
Diane,
Yes.
and Adam.
Yes.
And with this alternate, so if you're the representative from one of these boards or committees, if you can bring that back to your board or committee or authority to choose an alternate as well, if the board or committee so chooses to, and especially for the ones whose terms are up, if you can get that done by June 30th. And when even though you're being reappointed, you still have to show up at Jessica's office and get sworn in. So, and I think the alternates will need to also, since they're going to be voting on the CPC. Good. Anything else? No, our shortest meeting ever. So thank you all. We'll see you on August 25th. And the remote meetings were extended for 3 years. So we're 2 years up through June of 2025. So we're still on board for a while.
Up to June of 2027, right?
22, I'm sorry. Thank you. June of 2027. Risa.
Yes, could you remind us again the dates of our next meetings?
It's August 25th and September 8th. And
Excellent.
it is posted already on the hadleyma.org under the community preservation page. So if you
Thank
forget,
you.
that's an easy way to look it up.
Would people on the committee be interested in just having like a social gathering where we all go someplace and just
non-business, yeah.
Yeah, non-business, like just to actually be in the room together for once?
I would
think
support
that's a
that.
great
Look at-
idea, as long as we don't discuss business. I think that's a great idea. I could certainly
Does that
offer a
mean
barn.
should we do it after the town meeting and before the next applications?
That sounds like another subcommittee. All right, Mary, I'll call you and we'll talk about it.
Okay, that's great. All right, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Yes.
I move we adjourn.
Is there a second?
I would
Yes.
second, and then I'll add discussion. Thank you, Mary, for everything that you do.
Oh,
And thank
Yes.
you, Kayla.
Oh, Kayla. Woo!
Yes.
yay,
Thank you.
Kayla. And yay,
Good to see-
Andy Morse Friedman too, who gets a lot of
Kayla,
ideas
she's
off of them.
Kayla's the second best thing that ever happened to the CPA committee.
Absolutely. She's fantastic.